A letter was posted in the comments section of one of the recent videos for February video a day month, whatever. Anyway, somewhere under there, one of those videos, a comment was posted that I happened to see this morning, and this video that you're about to hear is a replacement for the topic that I was going to address, which I will move to tomorrow. And I wanted to talk about this issue because it's actually very common as women, single mothers, struggle to take care of their children by themselves. For some reason, the children get angry at the mother, the one who stayed, the one who sacrificed, the one who's doing everything for them and paying for everything for them. They give her attitude and get into some kind of protective mental state about the father that is the reason that they were abandoned. And I'm not real sure. I'm sure there's some psychiatrist, psychologist out there somewhere who has a perfectly plausible, technical, mental health style explanation for this. But to me, I just don't get that weird loyalty, and there's something that's wrong with kids who think like that. But let's go into her letter. She writes, I'm a single mom, and the thing that I find so difficult is that my ex-husband badmouths me. We divorced because he's a drug addict. Now that he has himself together, he continues to badmouth me. I keep doing the best I can for my children, but my son has a negative attitude towards me when he comes home. I guess she means from visitation. It hurts my feelings. What can I do? I tried to talk to my ex, but he doesn't even want to speak to me. When he does, all he does is cuss me out. Excuse me, and it turns into me cussing him out. My son wants me to not have hit my ex on child support so that he can give my son the money directly. I tried to explain to my son that his father doesn't even always pay child support and I pay for everything. And she says that her son is 16 years old. Now, 16, though still a child, is plenty old enough to understand certain concepts. And those concepts involve accountability, financial responsibility, and bullshit. And in this case, this boy is old enough to understand that everything in that household costs money. And if his father is half-stepping and not giving the money, and evidently hadn't been for a long time, because I don't know any drug fiends that would give the money for their kids versus put it up their nose or in their arm. So I'm looking at this, and I really felt for this woman dealing with a knucklehead ex, and now she got a knucklehead son. But this is my suggestion. I don't know, because it was like kind of a 90s concept, this thing called tough love. But basically what it involves is that you parents stop being weenies, that you remind yourselves and your children that you are the only voice in the house and that it is not a democracy, it is a dictatorship. And anybody who doesn't like the dictatorship can get out and can go somewhere else and have their own dictatorship at their house. That's how it rolls. And this is done not in a super nasty way or anything. It's done with firmness, and it's done with conversation, and it's done with an attitude of no nonsense. It's like your parents have to understand, you can't be your child's friend. That's not your job. Your job is to teach them how to respect other people, how to respect themselves, how to make decisions and choices, how to be a responsible, productive adult, to get some fat on their head, and to go out in the world and act like they have some home training. That's your job. And once they learn those things and step out that door onto their, start their own life by themselves, then your work is done. Now this boy here, he's 2 years from being an adult. At 18, even though they may still, here in our culture, technically 18, even though under the law they're an adult, mentally most of them are still kids, and especially financially and every other kind of way, they're still children. So what I'm about to say may shock her, but I think it's a necessary thing. So what I want you to do, young mother, is to give your son a piece of paper that shows what your household expenses are for the last, I don't know, just say 6 months. And then You put on that same paper the amount of money that his father has contributed to said expenses. Okay, because I'm thinking, he's being snowed. His father's telling him about, he gives you quote, all this money all the time, end quote, when, that's not true. That's not the factual way that it is. And the son, of course, not wanting to believe that his father's a bald-faced liar, is going to, be kind of duped by the whole thing. So you give it to him in black and white, if you have receipts, or, from the light bill and the gas bill and, whatever. I mean, you can give him that too if you want. I wouldn't go that far because, he don't need to know all the details. He just needs to know the grand totals. Okay, then you take him on a journey. Say, let's walk with me and let's have a conversation. You walk around the house and you say, now I want you in this room here to point to me the stuff that your daddy bought. What is in here that your daddy bought? And then let's go in your room. Look at the furniture. Look at all them clothes. Look at that computer. Look at that game console. Look at them shoes. Look at them school books. Look at that backpack. Look at that jacket. What in here has your daddy paid for? And then you go on down the hall to the sister's room. And you go on down to the laundry room or wherever, whatever you got to do. Just walk around and you just ask him to point out to you what that trifling two-bit piece of whatever has to say. What did he pay for in the house that those kids, that's a benefit to those children? Now, then he might say, well, he sent this and that, so that was food. Okay, but look at how much our food bill is, because you guys are growing children, you eat a lot. So he paid for, 5 meals? What about the rest of the month? What you supposed to eat? And then you need to tell your son, it's like, I want you to understand something. Anytime that you're not happy here in this house with me and your whatever siblings, you can go in your room and you can pack a suitcase with all the stuff that your daddy bought you now, because everything else stays here because it's mine. And you can go and live with him. And don't think I would be angry, because there's nothing wrong with a teenage boy living with his father. I think that might be good for you. So you decide if that's what you want to do. But I'm going to tell you, this attitude that you have when you come back from seeing him, this nasty, snarky way that you talk to me, the disgusting things that you say and the way that you look at me, all that stops right now. You will not treat and talk to me like that ever again. If you do, the idea that you will go to your father's house on a voluntary basis will become a mandatory basis, and I'm going to throw you out of this house, because I refuse to be talked to like that. I dealt with enough nonsense from your knucklehead father. I'm not going to take it from you. And that's what you need to tell him, because he just thinking he's smelling himself. He just all out there just coming to the house like he bought something. He paying some bills. He running shit. And it's like, you can't, I know it hurts your feelings, but see, you have to not let it hurt your feelings. I don't care if you have to get in your car and drive 10 miles away to cry. Don't you show any kind of weakness around that boy and with that man. So there's 2 other things you need to do. Okay, now you talk to the father, you tried to talk to the knucklehead, and he want to start cussing. This is what you say to him. Say, I refuse, interrupt him. I refuse to listen to you talk to me like that until you understand how to have a civil conversation with your ex about your children. We have no need to talk. And then you hang up. Turn off the phone. Go to bed if you have to. And you do that every time he gets out of pocket. You got to remember, sometimes people will look for attention any way they can get it. They will look for your attention in a positive way, or if they know that's impossible, because he knows you're not going to let him in to do anything positive, so he's going to look for it in a negative way. And you yelling at him is attention for him. You being upset, he loves that, because he knows he can still yank your chain. So you have to remove all of that from his control and stop letting him treat you that way. Stop letting him do that to you, and stop letting him have that kind of control over your emotional state. Excuse me. So he acts stupid. So you hang up. You don't talk to him. You disengage from that kind of thing. You do that every time. If your son should get to like that, like I said, you just tell him, we're not gonna play this game. Go in your room and start packing your stuff. Call your daddy to come get you, because you leaving here. I don't know where you're gonna be, but it's not gonna be here. Talking to me like that, nope, not gonna happen. You need to respect me. Now, your father, he was what he was. That's why I divorced his behind. I've been trying to do everything around here for your betterment by myself. If that's not good enough, take your behind back over there where he is then. Because one thing, I'm not going to have some ungrateful teenager eating up all the food I bought, burning the lights that I pay for, using the water that I pay for, and riding around in the car that I pay for, on gas that I pay for, and talking to me like I have a tail. That's not going to happen, homie. You got to get out. And a lot of kids, just the threat of it scares them into acting right. But he sounds like a little turd, and so he probably want to, call your bluff, let him go. And I want you to never, ever, ever show any emotion about it. You sit there with a steely face, and he starts acting up, just sit there and look at him with a blank stare. You have to let him and his father know that nothing they do is going to affect you emotionally. That's why they keep acting stupid, because they can see that it's having an effect, it's getting you upset. When you have men in your life like that, then you have to remove that pleasure source from them. It's like, you can talk all the shit you want to, but it don't affect me. The only one who's looking all stupid is you. I'm just looking at you. You can continue that little party if you want to, that little show, but ain't nobody really, you don't expect no applause at the end. So that's how you have to handle men like that. You do not reward their negative behavior with attention, with tears, or with pleading, or begging, or whining, or asking them what's wrong over and over and over and all those stuff. You don't do none of that. Your son, you just tell him, you make a decision. And whatever decision you make, you're going to stick to it. So if you decide to stay here, you're going to follow my rules. And my rules are, you do some shit like that again, come in this house with a funky face and talking to me all crazy, you can turn your ass right back around and go right back out that door. And I won't miss you, because I'm not going to miss somebody who treats me like that. That's not happening. I'm not saying you got to worship the ground I walk on, but you better treat me with the respect that I deserve. Because I'm the one who stayed. I'm the one who took care of you. I'm the one who did all the work and fed your behind and put a roof over your head and clothes on your back, not your knuckle-headed, drug-addicted daddy. As far as that goes, too, I know you've been trying to hold back and not talk about him. You don't want to get into the bad mouthing and stuff. But see, sometimes you got to pull your son is living in some kind of delusionary world where he thinks that, he's probably listening to your ex tell you, yeah, your mother just left me. She didn't stand by my side like a wife is supposed to, when I was going through my problems. It says for better or for worse that she just left me, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure he's running that game on your son, and your son being young and silly, he doesn't know any better. So, I don't know if you would want to do this, but this is what I would do. I would crack my knuckles and I would talk about him. I'd talk about his mama. I'd talk about his daddy. I'd talk about all his relatives. I'd talk about every single aspect of his life that I could talk about. Talk about his drug addiction and how weak and punk like a bitch like he is, and how he can't stand up to be a man on his own. He got to use some crutch like a drug. I would talk about him so bad, and then tell my son, and you try to go down that road too and watch what happens to you. I will leave your ass too. Because I'm not going to have my other children around some drug-addicted fool. That's why I left your father. And if you go down that road, I'll leave you too. You got to talk tough to these people. I'm not saying you weak, because you did cuss them back out, and I like that. That made me smile. But, you got to do more. I mean, as you cussed out your ex, but you got to be willing to cuss out your son too. Like I said, he's 2 years from being an adult, and he's trying to smell himself and act like he's a man now, and he ain't paying no bills, he ain't doing shit. Oh, and another thing, make him get a job. And if you don't have him doing a lot of chores around the house, you need to give him a list. His ass need to be busy from the second he walk in from school until the time he goes to bed with homework and household chores. That's what he needs to do. So, you shouldn't have to be doing everything. You got kids. They need, kids are like in-house free servants. And you need to make use of them so you can get you some rest. Sit in your chair and direct from the chair. Be like the orchestrator. But I know this is a lot of information. It'll be a lot of change for you. But girlfriend, I'm just looking at how this is going down. And these two are trying to run a game on you. And you have to come out on top. That's what I keep saying through this whole series. These games that these men play, you have to learn how to play them back, and you have to play them to win. I keep saying that. And this is how you're going to do it. You are going to have to buck up, get your back straight, and steal your heart so that you don't cry. Don't cry. Whatever you do, do not cry. Don't let your expression change, and don't you look hurt, and don't you say that anybody hurt your feelings. Don't you go whining to them about anything, asking them why. Don't you ask them to talk to you, nothing. Don't you do any of that. You do what I said here. If your son doesn't want to talk to you on that day, then you tell him, well, something we need to do. We'll talk when you're ready. But if you have something to say, and you come in this house acting a fool, the next time you go see your father, then we're gonna have a problem. So you need to figure out, we gonna talk sooner or we gonna talk later. But we do need to talk. But you can give them that option. That's okay. Anyway, that's enough for this tough parenting for the night. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com. We're finishing up with video number 6 of the video a day program that we have going here on the Debsterism channel. Every day for the month of February, a video of some sort. I'm not gonna make no promises what it's gonna be, because I have some ideas for some prank prank videos, but we'll see. I'm maybe just having a mood. We'll see what happens. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.